everybody, I'm Tammy, I'm the Siberian Wind, and I've been asked a lot of times how I baste my quilts. So this whole video is going to be showing you guys what I do, what I use, and it's going to be sped up. So you guys are going to get to see the full process, even though I'm going to time lapse it, so you're not having to sit through the entire process, because it can get a little bit boring, especially the larger quilt that you're going to baste. So what I've got in front of me, I'm going to show you a couple of the different things that I've got. Probably what's standing out to you the most are these clamps. So you can get them at places like Harbor Freight. You can probably get them at a hardware store like Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards or wherever, whatever places you have access to for yourself. Mine came from Harbor Freight, and they are clamps, and they are incredibly strong clamps. It does take me, with my hand strength, it takes me 2 hands to be able to open these. They do have plastic little clips at the end, or plastic little buffers at the end, and I do have 2 different sizes. I can get by with them. I do really like the larger ones though, but you can get by with the smaller ones. But again, same thing. They are very incredibly strong clamps. You want strong ones that are not going to move and shift on you. And for the sizes of everything that I'm working with, I want to have 8 of these on hand. One of my large clamps got misplaced during the move, so I do have to substitute in some smaller clamps. And right now, 2 larger clamps are holding up the quilt we're going to baste today. So I am going to be substituting some smaller clamps in, just because that's all I have. It's all I have access to right now. That's going to be the first thing that you're going to need in addition to your fabrics. When we get done clamping everything in place and we have all 3 of our layers here, you're going to need pins. And what I use, these are regular curved safety pins. So they have a curved, they're not straight safety pins, basically. You're not going to want a completely straight safety pin because they are harder to maneuver. So you do want a curved safety pin. So the back side of the safety pin is straight, and then or they can be curved as well, but the end that clips into your quilt or clips into your fabric is going to have a little bend in it. That is what makes it a curved safety pin. And you're probably noticing all these colorful little backing pieces that are on the backs of my pins. And what they do, these are made by the company that makes the Kwik Clip product, Paula Jean Creations Kwik Clip, trademarked, and it's made in the USA is what is written on my little handle piece here. So the back side of this little plastic piece, these you can get sets of them, and I will try to link that in the description box. I'm going to have to look for them because I haven't bought any in a while, but they are fantastic. So when you are pressing on the back of your safety pin, you're pressing on this wider plastic surface, and you're not digging your finger into the metal of your safety pin. So these guys are fantastic. And what the Kwik Clip tool does is when your pin is open and you go down into your quilt and you pick up a section of your quilt, you can use the tool to press down your quilt batting, backing, and everything else. You can use that to press it down, and you can also use it to pull that pin closed. So this is like sticking a screwdriver in the way or something else, but there is 3 little groove sections on the end of this Kwik Clip tool, and your safety pin will, you can grab it into those grooves. So that's what those grooves are there for. It is to help you get your safety pins closed without having to maneuver your finger under, possibly get poked, stuck, bleed, all of that kind of nonsense that you don't need when you are basting your quilt. So I do use curved pins, and I use the Kwik Clip tool from Polygene Creations. Okay, so those I'm going to set off to the side for the moment, and it's just in a glass jar. You can keep yours however you want to keep yours. The other tool that I use, and I'm going to move my mouse out of the way. Got to find a place to put it. So the other tool that I use is the tables that I'm using. So I actually have two tables here, and this is a little off screen, but when I go to doing a lot of the work and not talking to you guys as much, and I speed everything up, you guys are going to see that there is a fold in the table, and then I am actually using, you know what, let me actually scoot these closer to me, and we'll go ahead and show it to you now. So I've got this one table here, and I have another table right here. So I actually have two folding tables, and these are just standard plastic folding tables. You can get them at Staples or Walmart or any place like that. I use two of them for a very specific reason. When you go to lay your backing out, how many times have you tried to figure out where your center is? Well, I have my center pressed in my backing. So my backing is folded, and I have it pressed where I know where the center is. But then I have to do the same for my batting. And how do I line that up? And then I have to do the same for the quilt top. And how do I line that up? So what I do, and you guys will see this in the video, is I will lay my backing down, and I will locate by feel, I can locate by feel the fold in each of these tables, and I can feel this groove between the two tables. So I use that as my basis for how I line everything up. Then once I line the backing up, so once I line just this backing fabric up, what I will do is unfold it, make sure my cross of center from my backing is right where I want it to be. I'm going to take, and I'm going to use these clamps. And I'm going to clamp, and this is why I use 8 clamps personally. I'm going to clamp on every side of this quilt top. I'm going to clamp 2 clamps. So I will have a workspace here in between 2 clamps. Back here I'll have a workspace in between on the side between the 2 clamps, the front side as well as this side. I'm going to have a workspace no matter where I go. And then what I'm going to do after I've got the backing clamped down and the backing is smoothed out, I will take my batting and do the same thing. I will unfold it, lining up the center cross, just feeling through the layers to find where that center cross between the tables is. So here's where it is between the 2 tables, and I can just barely feel it because I've got 4 layers of fabric and 4 layers of batting right now, but through 1 layer of batting and 1 layer of backing, it will be super easy to tell exactly where that center is. So I'll lay the batting over the top of that, and what I will do is after the batting is in place, I'll take these clamps off, and then I will clamp down with the batting in place. So I will have the backing and batting clamped in place, and then I'll come grab the top, and then I'm going to do the same thing all over. So I'm going to clamp everything in place, and then what I will do is the center portion of the quilt will now be out on my table. So I will have 2 full tables worth of batting, backing, and top laid out in front of me, and I'm going to pin to my heart's content. When I am satisfied that I have my quilt pinned as much as I need to, then you guys will see me unclamp the quilt, and I will actually move it one direction or another. So I might move it towards my computer for a little bit. Then I'll reclamp it. I'll clamp a section that's already pinned, and I will have clamps off this side, and then I will go the other way. I'll come back this way, and then I will go off to a side and then go off to the other side. I will do that until I am done pinning, and then I'll come back and show you guys what my pinned quilt looks like, and that is now going to be basted and ready for me to take to the machine to start quilting. Okay, now that we are done basting our quilt, you can then take it to the machine and start stitching. I do recommend starting in your center and working your way out. Now, even with any basting method, you can run into the problem where you have some bubbles. So that's why I recommend start in your center and work your way out, whether you are doing one row of stitching, doing straight line stitching, whether you are doing free motion, whatever you're going to do for your stitching, just keep it consistent, but start in the center unless you're loading this on the long arm, which in case you're not doing all of these pins. But you want to work your way out. So if you do encounter a bubble of your batting or your backing or anything like that, you can still fix it. So I'm going to flip this over. I have not flipped it over yet, so I have not seen how I did. When you are pinning the outside edges, so I could technically come in, I pinned up here on the outside edges, so if you see here, I've got pins all the way out to my edge, but I'm not going to worry about pinning that section because I'm going to be getting to it pretty quickly. If you're going to be putting this up for maybe a couple of days, carrying it across town to another quilter's home to have them help you quilt it, you know, if you're doing something like that, then you might want to go ahead and pin all the way out. And then you can move your pins as you go. I tend to move my pins as I go, and I was originally going to do straight line quilting on this. I do have some discrepancies in this quilt. So like not all of my lines are exactly where I want them, not all of my seams nested exactly how I want them to nest. So I am going to free motion, and that will help disguise some of my boo-boos, okay? So we're going to flip it over and see how I did, and as far as what I can tell here, it does look like I may have a few bubbles, but that's just from me and knowing how it should look. Like I've got a bubble like right here, just right there. So it is like literally just on that outside edge where I didn't reclamp my quilt. So as long as you reclamp every time you move your quilt, and go ahead and check each layer. So when I moved it up or moved it down, when I come back in, normally I will reclamp the quilt, backing, batting, then top, so that I don't run into the problem of having it bubble like this. Bear with me just a second. There we go. So I don't necessarily always have it bubbling up like that, but this time I do. So we're going to fix it by free motion quilting. We're going to be fixing my discrepancies on the front with free motion, and I will fix the discrepancies in my pinning by doing free motion. But that is the basic idea behind how to pin baste. And I mean, even someone who's done it many times before, you can still, I'm in a hurry, so that's why I'm running into problems. But take your time. If you need to sit down while you do this, make sure you do it at table height and have a chair that you can move around, or put 4 chairs around your workstation, and that will allow you to get up, move to the next chair, get up, move to the next chair, or you can roll your chair around and get to all 4 sides of your quilt as you're basting it. You can also do this at floor height. So this is something I didn't mention earlier. What I typically do, and I mean, you guys, I'm trying to film this for you guys, okay? What I normally do is my 2 tables are out there in the living room. I move all the furniture out of my way. I set up both of these tables out there, and I set them up at their lowest height. So I can sit on the floor, on a cushion on the floor, and it's a perfect height for me sitting on the floor. I may have to reach my arms up just a little bit, but it's a lot lower to the ground, and I can sit on the floor and move my cushion with me as I pin baste, and I have a lot better luck with that. I normally don't do it chair height or higher, just because of my disabilities, but that's my unique case. But if you run into problems, that would be my suggestion, is make other adjustments to the way that you're doing everything, and take your time with clamping your quilt down, and you'll have much better success. So yeah, this is pin basting on a table surface, and as you guys saw when I was putting these pins in, because these are plastic tables, I'm not worried. If I do get a little burr on the table from putting these pins in, I can always come back with a little bit of sandpaper or a blade or something and smooth out these tables. I'm not worried about them. I would not recommend doing this on a wooden table if you like the surface of your table, because you will scratch your table surface. If you have any questions, if you have any comments you'd like to add about the pin basting process as I've shown it in this video, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I will take all criticism, constructive or not. I've got a very thick skin about this. I know this is not always the easiest way for everybody to pin, but this is the way that works for me. And again, I will try to have the links for the Kwik Clips and the plastic covers in the description of the video. Thank you for watching, you guys. Bye.